What's going on? Welcome to another Emami Cigars content. And today I figured we talk a little bit about how to light a cigar properly. You know, it's kind of been a topic, especially amongst, like, let's say, newcomers, but even some of the old school guys that have been smoking for a long time. Sometimes, I realize that they're lighting it a little not the correct way. So let's talk about that. First off, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for liking all of our contents. And we hope to give you more and more great content to come. But let's dig into it. So I got a nice Emami Petra. This is a private batch, no labels on it. And it's my personal from my own humidor. So first off, let's talk about cutting too. This one is an easy one. It's a torpedo. You're really not going to mess it up. On a torpedo, which is kind of like a cone-based shape right here, you want to just take off a little bit. I would say maybe about no more than 1/4 of an inch. Just kind of like that. So you still have a little bit of a base of that cone going in. You don't want to go too deep, like, you're cutting the whole half of the cigar off. And then normally I just do that. The reason I kind of lick a little bit like that, don't get too crazy with me while I do that. The reason I do that is because I want to get the tobacco a little bit wet and moist on the end. So that way, as I bite, sometimes like that, it doesn't crack or break apart that tobacco. Once you get it a little bit moist and wet, then that tobacco kind of gets a little bit more grippier. It's not as dry, so it doesn't crack as much. So when I want to light, little fancy Emami cigar lighter, the key is you never want to take that flame right onto the tobacco. And the reason is that if you put the flame directly on that tobacco and try to heat it up that way, the heat is so high that it's going to charcoal that tobacco at the end. So then when you first take that puff, and if after doing it that style, you're going to get a nastier taste of a burnt tobacco. And it's going to ruin the first experience of you tasting that first initial puff of your cigar. So you don't want to do that. What you really want to do is just kind of take it a little bit away, start bringing the heat. Let me see if I can do it this way. You can kind of see that. So you take the heat against it a little ways away. You can see the flame is way away from that, but you can kind of see how it's starting to grab, and gradually it's lighting it up. And I turn that cigar so that's basically, you want to distribute that heat thoroughly. So that's the reason why I'm kind of twisting and turning, and you can kind of see how it's about to be fully lit up. There you go. It's almost there. You can see how it's getting all red. Look at that. Oh yeah, there you go. Now, that heat was not directly on it. It was just enough space to where it can feel the heat, and from the heat coming off of that, it started burning that tobacco. So not a direct flame. Oh my gosh. What a great taste. So that is how you light a cigar properly. Never put that flame directly on that cigar. You don't want to get a weird burnt tobacco taste in your mouth. Not only it's horrible to begin with that way, you never get that true essence of the taste of that tobacco to begin with, but sometimes because you start that way, it actually taints the taste all the way throughout. So you're not going to get the proper taste notes that you want out of your cigar. But if you just take it a little space between that flame and your cigar just to give it enough room to where it can breathe a little bit, but still feel the heat. And from that heat, it's just going to light itself. So that is going to give you a tasty cigar. There you go. If you like this content, please make sure you subscribe, you like, you share it, leave us comments, and to another joyful session of cigars. Thank you. Bye-bye.